Tonight's timeline is on fire. Whispers, side eyes, and 1,000 stitched clips all point to one boiling question. What really went down inside the Kirk family? Minutes before we roll the receipts, remember? This is commentary on what the internet is saying, not confirmed fact. Still, the noise is deafening. Fans are shocked. Creators are pausing uploads, and comment sections read like a courtroom. In one viral clip, a voice off camera murmurs, "Don't do this here," while a second replies, "People deserve the truth." Another cut shows a stiff smile, a quick glance away, and the kind of silence that makes rooms feel colder than winter glass. Emotions ran high. The family was left divided. At least that's how it looks online. Why didn't anyone step in? Someone asks over a shaky montage. Because nobody wanted the fallout, a different voice claims. We're not here to say what's real. We're here to track the storm as it spreads. Was this just grief playing out on public stages? Or did long simmering tensions finally spill over where everyone could see? Grab your popcorn and your timeline. In the next hour, we'll follow the posts, the captions, the pauses between words, and the moments that changed how millions read the story. The chatter started quietly, like a whisper in the corner of the internet, the kind that no one takes seriously until it's too loud to ignore. At first, it was just one post, a shaky video clip from an old award ceremony showing Charlie Kirk standing beside his wife Erika, his parents a few feet away, their faces frozen in polite smiles. But someone slowed the footage down, circled every uneasy glance, every half-second of hesitation, and suddenly that small gap between them looked like a chasm. People began saying the same thing over and over. His parents never liked her. They warned him. They knew something wasn't right. Within hours, the story had a life of its own, jumping from one platform to another, twisting and growing as strangers filled in the blanks with imagination, screenshots, and half-remembered rumors. What pulled everyone in wasn't just the tension. It was the supposed warning. According to a few anonymous voices claiming to be close to the family, Charlie's parents had urged him not to rush into marriage with Erika. They said she was charming, persuasive, but not what she appeared to be. One message, allegedly from a former church acquaintance, described how Charlie's mother had once been seen leaving a family dinner in tears, whispering, "He won't listen to us anymore." The comment sections exploded with theories. Fans compared old interviews, noticing how Charlie's father looked stiff and uncomfortable every time Erika was mentioned. It was subtle, but in the world of online detectives, subtlety was fuel. And then came the resurfaced podcast episode, the one where Erika laughed about being the strong personality in their relationship. "Sometimes he just needs direction," she joked, her tone playful. But the clip was edited and re-uploaded to sound sharper, colder, more commanding. "She said it like she meant control," one viewer wrote. Within a day, the post had over 500,000 views, each comment layering another accusation. Suddenly, what had once been a cute story about opposites attracting became a dark narrative about manipulation and pride. People started claiming they saw it all along, that something about Erika's smile had always felt off. In one particularly viral thread, someone claiming to be a former production assistant at a conservative event shared a story about backstage tension. According to this unnamed source, Charlie's parents had shown up unannounced to support their son. But Erika looked visibly displeased. She reportedly pulled Charlie aside, whispering harshly before returning to her seat with a frozen grin. The thread described the moment like a scene from a drama, complete with imagined dialogue. "You don't control who I talk to," Charlie supposedly said, while Erika's reply was, "Then maybe I control who you trust." It might have been fiction, but it sounded real enough to catch fire. The more people talked, the more believable it became. Meanwhile, fans began digging into Erika's past, pageant photos, old podcast clips, and past interviews from her Miss Arizona USA days. What they found wasn't scandalous, but when framed with suspicion, every smile looked staged, every statement rehearsed. She had once described herself as ambitious and driven by purpose, but users twisted that line into proof of ulterior motives. The online narrative grew darker by the hour. transforming her ambition into greed and her composure into calculation. "She's too calm," one user said under a photo of her attending a charity gala. "No one that calm after all that's happened is innocent." Others agreed, claiming her steady demeanor was the mask of someone who'd already planned her next move. The story gained more heat when a reporter covering conservative media posted a cryptic message. Some families hide fractures behind their faith. No names were mentioned, but the comment sections filled in the blanks themselves. It didn't help that around the same time, Charlie's parents stopped appearing in public altogether. No new photos, no interviews, nothing. The silence was deafening, and that made the rumors sound true. Fans began saying maybe they were staying quiet because they'd been silenced, or because what they knew was too painful to say out loud. Someone even claimed to have seen a private social media post from Charlie's mother weeks before his passing that read, "A storm is coming." It was never verified, but by the time fact-checkers called it fake, the story had already settled deep in people's minds. Soon, podcasts and YouTube commentators picked up the thread, each adding their own flair. One channel called it a modern-day betrayal wrapped in a marriage of convenience. Another claimed insiders told them Charlie's parents believed he'd been spiritually manipulated. Hosts debated whether love had blinded him or whether power had divided them. Emotional music swelled under montages of family photos, while voices whispered about money, fame, and faith. Every retelling grew more cinematic, more tragic, and far less about what anyone could actually prove. People stopped asking if it was true. They just wanted to know what would happen next. As online sleuths pieced together their timeline, they found one detail that no one could explain. 3 months before Charlie's death, Erika had reportedly deleted hundreds of old photos from her Instagram account. Fans said it was an attempt to erase something, though others argued it could have been nothing more than a rebrand. Still, that blank space online became a canvas for speculation. What was she hiding? Became the new rallying cry across comment sections. Theories ranged from secret investments to behind-the-scenes deals involving Turning Point's media branch. None of it was verified, but in the world of internet investigation, imagination mattered more than evidence. And then came the story that changed everything. The one about the alleged argument. A former staffer, whose name never appeared in print, told a podcast host that he'd overheard a heated exchange between Charlie and Erika backstage at a conference. According to him, it was tense, real, the kind of fight where you don't care who's watching. He claimed Erika accused Charlie of choosing his family over her, while Charlie shot back that she didn't understand what loyalty meant. The supposed witness said the air was electric, that people nearby pretended not to hear, and that afterward, Charlie's expression was haunted. The clip of that podcast went viral overnight, accompanied by dramatic background music and a caption that read, "They warned him, but it was too late." By now, what had started as small talk had turned into a full-blown spectacle. Every influencer wanted a piece of it. Some took the parents' side, framing them as quiet victims who tried to protect their son. Others defended Erika, calling the narrative misogynistic and unfair. Hashtags trended, interviews resurfaced, and even unrelated public figures weighed in with vague comments about trust and discernment. The internet was split straight down the middle, half ready to condemn, half insisting on compassion. The truth, whatever it was, had become irrelevant. What mattered was the drama, the suspense, and the endless scroll of new reactions. In a digital world hungry for emotion, the Kirk family had become the latest fixation, their private pain repackaged into a public mystery that no one could look away from. As the story kept spiraling, every small detail started to look like a clue. Fans began treating screenshots like forensic evidence, zooming into photos of smiles, comparing dates, and reading meaning into every caption. One clip in particular turned into an internet obsession. A family dinner video from 2 years ago, posted by a friend before being quietly deleted. In it, Charlie was laughing, holding his daughter, while Erika and his parents exchanged what now looked like tight, polite smiles. "Look at that glance," a TikTok user said, replaying it in slow motion. "You can feel the tension." Another replied, "She's looking at them like they're outsiders." Even though there was no sound, people filled in the dialogue with speculation. It didn't matter that no one could hear what they said. What mattered was that the scene looked off. Then came the audio clip. A 3-minute voice memo, supposedly leaked from someone close to the Kirk circle, made its way across social media. It featured 2 muffled voices arguing about trust and betrayal. Listeners claimed it sounded like Erika and Charlie, though no verification ever came. The woman's voice said, "You think they love you, but they just want to control you." And the man's replied, "They're my family, not enemies." The argument was raw, trembling, human, or maybe it was just edited that way. Either way, it fit the story perfectly. Podcasts replayed it. Influencers dissected it line by line. And the internet took it as proof that something deeper had been boiling long before tragedy struck. As more rumors piled on, a mysterious name began circulating. Someone called Ben, allegedly a longtime advisor to the Kirk family. No one ever proved he existed, but that didn't stop users from claiming he'd been a mediator between Charlie and his parents. According to one viral thread, Ben had told them that the marriage was a storm waiting to break. Another alleged that Ben disappeared from the public eye shortly before Charlie's death, fueling even wilder speculation. "It's always the quiet ones who know everything," a commenter wrote. And within hours, people were searching for any trace of this mystery man. Fake profiles appeared. Random photos were claimed as proof. And by the next morning, the internet had built an entire subplot out of thin air. Meanwhile, Erika's own silence became its own headline. She didn't post, didn't comment, didn't deny. Every day she stayed quiet. Her image grew more complicated. Was she grieving or was she hiding? Talk shows began debating her motives. "There's a difference between privacy and secrecy," one host said on a live segment, her voice heavy with intrigue. And right now the public wants answers. Online, fan accounts that once posted prayers and sympathy quotes now uploaded timelines connecting dots no one had confirmed. "It's like a script," one user wrote. Act 1, romance. Act 2, tension. Act 3, tragedy. Act 4 is where the truth comes out. Then came the twist that made the story explode beyond the fan base. Someone claimed to have found a financial record showing a large transfer made just weeks before Charlie's passing. The number was staggering, $350,000, and the account name was redacted. No one could verify where it came from or who received it. But that didn't stop people from claiming it was connected to Erika. Threads erupted with theories. Some said it was payment for a secret deal. Others said it was charity money redirected under the radar. The absence of proof didn't slow anyone down. If anything, it fueled them more. YouTube analysts built entire hour-long videos around that single rumor, complete with dramatic background music and shadowy imagery. They spoke like detectives, not entertainers, and audiences ate it up. Charlie's parents, still silent, became symbols in the narrative. They warned him, fans said over and over. They saw what was coming. In the absence of their voices, the internet spoke for them. Supposed insiders shared secondhand stories of tearful phone calls, dinners cut short, and warnings ignored. One particularly dramatic post described Charlie's father allegedly confronting Erika during a holiday gathering, saying, "You've changed him." According to the post, she smiled and replied, "No, I revealed him." The line spread like wildfire. It was too perfect, too cinematic, and people wanted to believe it was real. As mainstream outlets began reporting on the online frenzy, things reached a boiling point. Commentators tried to separate fact from fiction, but it was already too late. Every attempt to clarify only added to the drama. Even the Kirk family's church became part of the story when someone posted a sermon clip about wolves in sheep's clothing, implying it was aimed at Erika. Whether it was or not, it didn't matter. The narrative had momentum. People said Charlie's parents had stopped attending services, that they were in hiding. Others claimed they'd moved states, though no one could confirm it. The lack of clarity was gasoline on a fire that refused to burn out. The emotional weight of the story wasn't just in the rumors, It was in the collective feeling that everyone had witnessed a tragedy unfold in real time. "We saw it, but we didn't know what we were seeing," one viral tweet said. Fans began posting old photos with captions like, "This hits different now," and "Look at her eyes." Even innocent moments were turned into warnings in retrospect. The couple's anniversary video, once celebrated for its tenderness, now looked eerie to many viewers. The part where Charlie said, "She completes me," drew endless comments like, "He didn't know how true that was." The tone had shifted from sympathy to suspicion, from mourning to mystery. Then, almost overnight, the focus turned to Erika's new role. She had been appointed to lead the very organization Charlie built. And while some called it admirable, others called it opportunistic. Too soon, fans wrote under every post that mentioned her. Timelines filled with side-by-side comparisons of her first appearance as CEO and Charlie's last public speech. Users circled gestures, matching phrases, claiming she was imitating him. "It's like she rehearsed this," someone commented. "She knew she'd be in that seat." The narrative had transformed from heartbreak to power play. For those watching, it wasn't just about love anymore. It was about control, inheritance, and legacy. And through it all, the central question lingered in the background, unanswered and echoing louder each day. What did his parents really know? And why had they warned him in the first place? By now, the internet had turned into a courtroom. Every post, every blurry photo, every half-remembered quote was treated as evidence. Creators on YouTube released multi-part investigations, complete with ominous background music and whispered narration. "The truth," one influencer said dramatically, "isn't what it seems. It's what's hidden." Fans devoured it. They didn't just want the facts anymore. They wanted a story, a villain, and a motive. And for them, Erika fit that role perfectly. It didn't matter that nothing was proven. The silence from her and the family only made things look worse. Because online, silence always sounds like guilt. Then, something unexpected happened. A clip surfaced from a speech Charlie gave months before his death. He was on stage, smiling, speaking about faith, resilience, and the importance of trusting God through trials. But the part that caught everyone's attention came at the end. He said, "Sometimes even those closest to you can't see your vision, but you love them anyway." People replayed that single line 1,000 times, convinced it was about his parents. "He was talking about the warning," one user wrote. He knew they didn't trust her. Within hours, the phrase, "you love them anyway," was trending. It became a symbol of the tragedy. Love clashing with loyalty, family divided by conviction. Not long after that, a supposed insider posted another twist. They claimed Charlie's parents had tried to confront Erika privately a few months before his death. According to this anonymous message, the meeting was tense, tearful, and ended with his mother saying, "We'll pray for you both." That single line was enough to set social media ablaze. Podcasts dramatized the scene, complete with actors reading imagined dialogue, recreating every emotion. "You don't have to protect him from us," the voice actress playing Charlie's mother said, her tone trembling. "I'm not protecting him," the fake Erika replied. "I'm protecting what he built." It was fiction, but to audiences craving drama, it felt real enough. Meanwhile, the whispers around the mysterious $350,000 transfer refused to die. A popular TikTok account claimed to have traced the payment to a consulting firm that dissolved days later. Whether it was real or not, people connected the dots themselves. Some said it was linked to campaign finances, others suggested blackmail. No one had proof. But proof wasn't necessary anymore. The story had taken on its own momentum. Hashtags like "Why the transfer" and "Why the truth about Erika" trended for days. Screenshots with red circles and arrows appeared everywhere, even though most of them were obvious fabrications. "It's not about being right," one commenter wrote. "It's about not being blind." Through it all, Erika's behavior became its own spectacle. Her first public appearance after the tragedy was supposed to be a moment of healing. Dressed in black, she spoke softly about loss, legacy, and faith. But viewers weren't listening for comfort. They were analyzing her tone. "Why isn't she crying? Someone asked. "She looks too composed," another replied. Even when she paused mid-speech, taking a deep breath, users slowed the clip and added captions like, "calculating response." What had once been a grieving widow now looked, to many, like an actress performing a role. The irony was that her calmness, which might have been her way of surviving, became the very thing people distrusted. And then came the eerie post, a simple line on her social media. "The truth doesn't need to scream." It was poetic, vague, and instantly divisive. Some saw it as strength, others as arrogance. "Who posts that when everyone's accusing you of lying?" one fan tweeted. "It's like she's taunting us." Within hours, the comment section turned into chaos. People begged her to speak, to clarify, to share her side. She didn't. She stayed silent, deleting the post a day later. But by then, it was too late. The screenshots had already gone viral. The more she tried to disappear, the larger her shadow grew. As this storm unfolded, a darker rumor began to spread. One that made even the wildest theories sound tame. A podcast host claimed to have spoken to someone close to the investigation, who said Charlie's parents had gone off the grid after receiving threats. There was no evidence, no names, just an emotional story about a family forced into silence. It spread like wildfire. People began saying the Kirks were being protected, that they knew too much. One post read, "They tried to warn him, and now they've vanished." Others said the parents had been offered money to stay quiet. Every version contradicted the last, but that didn't stop it from trending. What made the narrative even more dramatic was how public figures started weighing in. Conservative commentators posted cryptic tweets about betrayal and loyalty. Late-night comedians joked about the Kirk conspiracy. Even unrelated celebrities got pulled into the conversation, liking posts that fans interpreted as taking sides. At that point, it wasn't just a story. It was a cultural obsession. For every person defending Erika, 5 more accused her of deception. And for every skeptic demanding proof, a dozen others said the absence of denial was the proof. Then, as if scripted for television, a blurry photo appeared online. It showed a woman resembling Erika sitting in a cafe with 2 men in suits. The caption read, "This was taken 48 hours after the funeral." The image spread instantly, though no one verified when or where it was taken. It could have been anyone, anywhere, but viewers didn't care. The timing was enough. Creators paired it with ominous music and captions like, "Meeting in secret." Some even claimed one of the men looked like a security consultant Charlie had once hired. "It all connects," users commented. "Follow the money, and you'll find the truth." Even the smallest coincidences now felt like clues in a thriller. In this swirl of speculation, Charlie's legacy began to fade behind the noise. What had once been a story about a man's life and work became a saga about suspicion and betrayal. His parents, silent and unseen, were cast as tragic prophets. Erika, stoic and untouchable, became the perfect antagonist. The story no longer belonged to the family. It belonged to the audience, who fed on every new twist. And in a way, that was the cruelest part. Every rumor gave people something to feel, something to debate, something to believe in. What had started as grief had turned into entertainment, and no one could tell the difference anymore. Weeks turned into months, but the internet refused to let go. Every day, new threads appeared like weeds, each one claiming to have the final piece of the puzzle. Even mainstream outlets, cautious at first, began covering the story. Not because they believed it, but because ignoring it had become impossible. Every article, every video, every speculative podcast only added more weight to the myth that had swallowed the truth whole. Charlie Kirk's name was no longer trending for his work, his speeches, or his organization. It was trending because everyone wanted to know what really happened inside his marriage, his family, and his legacy. The tragedy had turned into a season-long reality show, and no one wanted to miss the finale. Then came the calm before the next storm. For a few days, everything went quiet. No new leaks, no posts from Erika, no statements from the Kirk family. It felt eerie, like the internet was holding its breath. And just when people began to move on, A journalist released a long-form video report claiming to have uncovered internal emails from a company allegedly linked to that mysterious payment. The screenshots flashed across the screen, redacted names, vague references, and timestamps that only deepened the mystery. One line stood out: "Everything proceeds as discussed." It didn't say who wrote it or what it meant, but in the court of public opinion, it was the smoking gun. "That's it," viewers said. "Proof she knew." Within hours, the clip had millions of views, and Erika Kirk was back in the spotlight she couldn't escape. Her silence this time lasted only a day. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, she appeared in a recorded statement posted on her official page. The background was simple: white wall, soft lighting, no makeup. She looked directly into the camera and said, "I know what's being said. I know what people think they know, but lies grow faster than truth ever will. I've lost my husband, my best friend, and the father of my child. I don't owe the internet my pain." Her voice broke slightly at the end, but she didn't cry. She ended the message with a quiet, "Please, let him rest." It should have been the closing chapter, but it wasn't. The video divided the internet even more. Half the audience called it brave, raw, and genuine. The other half called it rehearsed, manipulative, and perfectly timed. "Too polished for grief," one comment read. "That wasn't emotion, that was strategy," said another. Reaction videos popped up within hours, breaking down her every blink, every breath, every tone shift. Experts in body language were invited onto talk shows to analyze her expression. One even said, "She's either incredibly composed or incredibly guilty." The phrase went viral, turning into a meme, then a slogan. Composed or guilty? It was printed on t-shirts, used in hashtags, and turned into sound bites for trending reels. Erika Kirk had become both a person and a symbol. Half villain, half victim. Depending on who you asked, the obsession reached its peak when a well-known comedian made a joke about the saga during a live performance. "You know the world's gone mad," he said. "When people spend more time investigating a marriage than the FBI does an actual crime." The audience roared, but the laughter carried a strange unease. Everyone knew he was right. Even those who mocked the drama couldn't stop watching it. It had become a collective fixation, an emotional mirror that reflected people's hunger for scandal, for justice, for something to believe in when everything else felt uncertain. Meanwhile, smaller accounts began to claim that Charlie's parents were finally speaking privately to friends, though no one could prove it. One post claimed they'd said, "We tried to protect him, but you can't save someone from love." The line spread fast, echoed across platforms, quoted in captions, written on tribute images. It was beautiful, poetic, and heartbreaking, and most likely never said at all. But that didn't matter. In this world, emotional truth mattered more than factual truth. It felt real, so people treated it as real. Then another video surfaced, this time showing Erika attending a charity gala, smiling softly as she greeted guests. For a woman accused of everything from manipulation to ambition, she looked remarkably calm. "How does she look so at peace?" one user asked. "She looks like someone who already got what she wanted," another answered. Clips of that smile circulated everywhere, turning what might have been a moment of healing into another round of judgment. People weren't seeing a widow. They were seeing the character they'd built in their heads, the villain of a story that no one could stop writing. But behind the noise, a quieter truth began to surface. Friends of the family, the few who hadn't spoken publicly before, started hinting that the internet had gone too far. One said, "This was never supposed to be entertainment." Another posted, "No matter what you think happened, none of us really know, and maybe we shouldn't." Those voices were drowned out at first, buried under the chaos. But gradually they started to resonate. Viewers began asking whether they'd crossed a line, whether grief and speculation had become indistinguishable. "We turned someone's tragedy into our favorite show," a viral post admitted. "And now we can't tell if we're mourning or gossiping." By the time the frenzy began to die down, the damage had already been done. Charlie Kirk's story wasn't a headline anymore. It was folklore, retold in different tones by people who never met him. His parents. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell us whose side you're on, what clues you noticed, and whether you believe the silence means guilt or grief. If you think the truth is still out there waiting to be uncovered, hit that like button and share this video so others can weigh in too. And if you want to stay updated as this mystery keeps evolving, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Because in a world where every rumor spreads faster than facts, sometimes the only thing louder than the truth is the story people want to believe.